Number one Ibble Dibble here. Hello friends, in this video I wanted to break down how Meghan embarrassed herself tossing Nigerian billionaire power broker word salad at what was supposed to be a women in leadership conference, but was actually an event thrown together rather last minute just a week before she arrived to flatter her on her faux royal tour. This was amazing because Meghan embarrassed herself so badly, they literally cut off the live feed, and video of the panel is nowhere to be found online. All we have is snippets from social media and sound bites from the news services posted before the video was pulled. Plus, of course, the print media like People magazine that tries to spin it in a way that's very flattering to Meghan, only including her dumb bon mot because Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Director General of the World Trade Organization, tore Meghan a new one by dismantling her ignorance of the Nigerian context, superficiality, and overreaching. But something tells me Meghan's so stupid we can work with the quotes we've got.
I'm very overwhelmed. So I want to start by saying thank you very much for just how gracious you've all been in welcoming my husband and I to this country, my country.
Okay, slow your roll, colonial queen. I broke down the 43% claim over a year ago when Meghan tried to flex on Z-Way on her Archetypes podcast. If you're one of the few people left who hasn't heard the scientific breakdown yet, card above, description box below. When the video got traction again during this Nigeria trip, I got a bunch of comments like this. Please, even she 1%, she is welcome home, let her be. She wants to belong somewhere. Now she has chosen Nigeria, period. Well, Bricks, that is very sweet of you, because Meghan doesn't work for free. She's never stepping foot in Nigeria again, unless it's off a private jet to $1 million plus paycheck. Also, Nigerian DNA isn't a thing. Also, Meghan isn't even 43% African. Forget 43% combination of miscellaneous suspiciously unnamed ethnic tribes occupying modern-day territory of Nigeria. And then to make things extra awkward, unprompted, she tries to cover her tracks where she gave us the hard number 43% because any Nigerian with more than 2 brain cells to rub together would know it was a lie.
When I had done the genealogy and found out about my heritage, the first thing I did obviously was call my mom because I wanted to know if she had any awareness of it. And I think being African American, part of it is really not knowing so much about your lineage, your background, where you come from specifically, and it was exciting for both of us to discover more and understand what that really means.
Superficially, it doesn't sound so bad, but if you just peel back the layers of the onion, as Megs would say, this is a combination of narcissistic pity play and race baiting. Let's evaluate her words minus the irrelevant slave trade context. Let's pretend there was a D-list TV actress from somewhere in Somerset who did a 23andMe and discovered she was distantly related to a bunch of Americans. Let's pretend that white lady married Prince Harry and started telling people she was 43% American. Let's pretend she was invited to serve on the panel of a women's leadership conference in New York, not due to her qualifications, but due to the notoriety she and Harry bring to any forum. Let's say this woman uttered the very same sentence.
Thank you very much for just how gracious you've all been in welcoming my husband and I to this country, my country, my country, my country.
Whose country? Anyone present would consider it bizarre, tone-deaf, utter ignorance at best, more likely patronizing tribalist pandering. Now imagine the guests in New York are the top 50 female entrepreneurs and industrialists in the United States, called in on short notice as a favor to their acquaintance, sometime business partner slash homegrown media billionaire they feel they just can't say no to. Someone like, I don't know, Oprah before she got markled. And this actress continues to say,
"It has been a whirlwind 24 hours since we arrived, and I've very quickly gotten the memo that I need to wear more
black because it's New York,
so I can fit in with all of you in your incredible fashion."
It's already a huge waste of their time to be there because their time and attention is worth big bucks. And this nobody from Nowheresville with no accomplishments is backhandedly complimenting the incredibly expensive, hyper designed, rooted in decades, if not centuries, of culture, niche, local fashion. Now imagine the exact same tongue in cheek question is asked.
Representation might mean to be a Nigerian.
Or, in our analogy, an American. And instead of even picking up on the setup and coming in with a crowd pleasing punchline, this psycho D list ex actress, current nobody, says in total seriousness,
Never in a million years would I understand it as much as I do now.
if you gave her a million years, she couldn't be bothered to learn any more about her host country than she had picked up in the previous 24 hours. In a million years. A million years. Damn, Megs, you're really making my job easy today. We don't need the analogy anymore, do we?
In here, right?
Being here. And what has been echoed so much, really, in the past day by men and women alike
Oh, I get it. This is a one night stand, not a relationship.
is, oh, we weren't surprised when we found out when you were.
DTF.
Oh, no. And I say that mostly as a compliment to all of you because what they define as a Nigerian woman is brave, resilient, courageous, powerful, beautiful.
Don't stop. Toss that word salad cha-cha emoji. I want you to whisper it in.
My country.
Seriously, these women are just not accustomed to this low level of discourse. They are extremely wealthy, intelligent, highly educated, hardworking, some self-made, prominent business figures. The Director General of the World Trade Organization was one chair away. What the was Meghan thinking? And of course, being Meg, she doubled down on identity politics and condescended to them because in her delusions of grandeur, she is not just one of them,
And I say that mostly as a compliment to all of you.
but a queen among them.
I often find that in whatever travels I've done, regardless if it's Nigeria or another country around the world, oftentimes when women reach the peak of success, they leave.
Don't hedge your ignorance and try to cover up your lack of preparation for this panel. If you have no idea what the status of brain drain is in Nigeria, don't speak on it, and definitely don't blame it on women. For the past 40 years, waves of brain drain have occurred in various sectors, primarily health and education, due to educational asymmetries, Commonwealth immigration policies, IMF economic structural adjustments, political crises, etc., etc. So, it's a super complicated and nuanced situation, and before your dumbass, absolutely no one suggested it was propelled in any way, to any extent, by women seeking to escape Nigeria.
But you need to come back home. You need to at least be a familiar face for the next generation to say, oh, she looks like me, and I can be that.
I just want to see the stats on this. If she's talking about media representation, as in successful, happy people of all genders, ethnicities, and sexualities being depicted on television, in 2024, it's really a dead duck in Nigeria and a moot point in the Western European or American countries highly skilled Nigerian professionals emigrate to for work. I need to be persuaded Meghan even has a point here. Someone show me studies, someone show me stats. But I'll be generous and pretend she does. Considering just under 4% of Nigerian National Assembly members in either the Senate or House of Representatives are women, they really should have invited one of them instead of her if they wanted seeing is believing representation. Right? The good doctor also clapped back on this one.
So it was a big risk taking this and being in the public, because if I didn't make it, it would also be very global and very public. But I said to the people interviewing, it's not about being a woman and it's not about being Africa. It's about being the best person to manage that organization at this time. So they thought I was very cheeky because I said to them, take the best person who can manage. I said, of course, I think it's me.
I think this is a great example of Meghan's rhetorical laziness, which I touched on in my last video, Meghan's Floptastic Flaws Part 6, Lazy Effing Grifter, card above, link in the description box below. She's doing her absolute best to transpose issues America was dealing with 40 years ago onto today's Nigeria, and it doesn't really work.
And I think that is a really key piece in all of it, where success isn't defined by, oh, you've gotten out, you've gone somewhere else. It's defined by, and you still always want to come back home, because that's how you're going to help shift any sort of generational pattern that might be stifling, especially for young girls who need to see someone who looks like them in that same position of
I don't
power.
want to interrupt you, but you have come back home.
Yeah, she loves it there. I can see it in her eyes. Lack of representation, not recognizing someone who looks like them, is not the main issue women face in building their careers in Nigeria. According to the last 15 years of human resources management research performed at the University of Lagos, which I will link to in my description box, simple misogyny is number one, followed by nepotism and favoritism in both public and private sectors, then lenient work visa policies favoring temporarily importing cheaper skilled labor from Ghana and India, then lack of structured HR policies and strategies in the private sector that conform to the equality and diversity laws that have been in place for 50 years and beefed up 25 years ago. And finally, ethnic, then social class discrimination. Highly educated and skilled Nigerian female professionals usually don't leave because they want to. They leave because they have to. Those with the right dad, grandpa, or husband don't leave. It obviously has nothing to do with their color, and it's women from all different tribes. Dr. Ngozi addresses this too.
You will find that we attach special importance to men and their role. We can be talking to each other. You know, we are all like-minded. It's like preaching to the choir. But unless we're able to convince the men, sometimes they need to move aside and give room for a woman to also take the position.
I mean, really, the audacity of a woman who left the British royal family, accused them of racism in worldwide media, and refuses to step foot on UK soil, but actually did all that just to try to make a buck in the States? Harping about successful Nigerian women needing to come home? What a classic Meghan fail. At this late date, how can she not know that we're all going to point out her hypocrisy? To state the obvious, she is talking to a room of women in Nigeria who have made it by hook or by crook, not a Nigerian women's club abroad somewhere. To use Meghan's own words, make it make sense. They are home. They are visibly at home, attending dumb televised conferences like this, and they are raising their daughters at home. In all fairness, Mo is also a race-baiting troll who trolled Meghan. Assuming Meghan didn't write these questions and ask Mo to perform them as if they were her own. That is how she markled Oprah.
What?
It is how she markled Katie Couric.
Meghan, will you tell the story about when you wrote that letter to PNG? Because I don't know if everyone's heard it.
About the fact that she is a role model to many of us. Because now black young girls, black older girls can look to see and say, if she's done that, I can do that. What do you think are some of the things that we need to be able to do to ensure that there are more role models out there?
Mo, everyone in Nigeria is black, and there are only so many British princes to go around.
But it's only one of so many things that we can do to showcase other black women doing amazing things. Because I often say that as a Nigerian woman, you have to work 3 times harder than anybody else. You're black, you're a woman, you're African, you're 4 times harder, you're Nigerian.
Is she for real? Is she really not going to mention the 2 most determining factors in life success outcomes, especially in countries like Nigeria? Family money and friends in high places? If a girl lacks those, watching rich ladies on TV all day won't help her.
But how do we ensure that the next generation of women coming have role models to be able to look to. Well, then I hope that I could do justice to the role model that I think so many young women deserve to have. Obviously, in the face of all of you here, I know that they see that.
Just what is with her tangled grammar? It's frankly un-American. I try to be a role model. I hope you can see that. Would have done. Do you think she's using all those extra words to buy time while her lizard brain calculates how believable the lie she's about to spout is? That's the conclusion I've come to. And then there's the interminable yet pointless story about female mentorship. This is where the live feed cuts off, but it doesn't really matter because she's told us this story several times before. It's the story about Bonnie Hammer inviting her to breakfast and her asking Bonnie about work-life balance with kids. Bonnie's response is, "You'll never find a balance," and Meghan still hasn't figured it out. It's been over a decade and Meghan still can't comprehend that Bonnie blew her off. I'll read Meghan's reaction as quoted in People magazine to you in my best Meghan voice. And it struck me and it stayed with me for a long time because you say, well, how can you be so successful and she's a mother as well and she's married and say that you'll never find the balance? What does life feel like if it's imbalanced? End quote. That was bad. I tried. It feels like getting up early to do an underling a favor and getting pummeled with inane, overly intimate questions irrelevant to their career and potential success while you try to eat, Meghan. She blew you off, idiot. And you'll never guess how she concluded her thoughts for the Women in Leadership panel, sitting alongside a self-made media billionaire and the director general of the World Trade Organization, with debatably Nigeria's most successful 50 women in the audience. Sorry, I can't attempt the voice again. Quote, "And so being a mom has always been a dream of mine, and I'm so fortunate that we have two beautiful, healthy, very chatty, sweet children." End quote. Did she forget where she was? A lot of people who were there in person said she looked high a lot of the time. Do you think it was some sort of defense mechanism, like looking into their faces over the course of the hour-long panel discussion, she realized it occurred to each and every one of them that she was absolutely useless as far as connections go? So she just wanted to emphasize her primary value is as a semi-royal broodmare? Okay, that's all I have to say today. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think she was even embarrassed? Or do you think her narcissistic lack of self-awareness convinced her that she looked great, sounded great, and everyone thinks she's great? Let me know. And I will see you tomorrow for a little more word salad tossing in Nigeria. Toodles! Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.